Hey everyone, I just wanted to share my Nurecover setup. I jumped on the craze of cold plunges. Been looking into it for a long, long time actually, and was trying to figure out how to cost effectively build a deep freeze into one. But everything was like 200 bucks or above, and this Nurecover came in just above 100 bucks. And actually, if you use coupon code, it comes in at about 100 bucks. I'm speaking Canadian dollars, but anyway, it's pretty good price, so it makes sense. Now, the one thing with a Nurecover is it's not thermal, so you have to find a way to chill it. What I'm using is I've got all these water bottles that I put in the freezer every day, and then before I plunge, I drop them in. I've found so far about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, maybe say between 4 and 6 hours of the ice in the cold plunge gets it down to a pretty cold temperature. You're not going to be, around freezing or anything, but it's pretty darn cold. And the if you follow the science, it really just has to be uncomfortable. So I'm getting it down around 10 degrees Celsius, which is pretty good. Pretty uncomfortable. So it does the trick that way. What I wanted to share is what I figured out for keeping it clean. I didn't want to cycle the water all the time. I didn't want to have to drain it and refill it all the time, and which is what I was doing early on. And this is in the basement, so it's kind of tough to do that. I have to run a garden hose down here, and then it gets just kind of weird. You end up, leaving water everywhere, and it's a bit awkward that way. So what I ended up doing is I bought this pool pump, and it's a pretty cheap pool pump. I forget the cost, but I'll probably chuck a link to it on Amazon. And it's a sand filter, so it's definitely one of the better filters. Definitely better than a paper one. You don't have to keep replacing the paper filters, and this is just, we have this on our pool as well outside, and it creates really nice water, keeps it really clean. So I ended up doing an adapter down here. This was the biggest problem for me, is trying to figure out what's going to fit on here. I believe it's 3/4 inch. What is that? Female threads on the end of this, and I just couldn't find an adapter that went from 3/4 female threads to something that would clamp onto, I think, 1.25 inch hose here. So what I ended up doing was just getting a flexible coupling, just like that, and clamping the two of them down. So that works really well. I don't get any leaks. You don't see any water under there, and it's running right now. And what I do is I'll plunge, and then I'll run this for about an hour, sometimes 2 hours, every other day. So then the day in between, I'll run this UV light. I'll drop that in there again for an hour or 2 hours. And I have a timer, which is right here. And so I'll just set this for an hour or 2 hours. This has obviously a power plug coming out of it, so it's plugged into an outlet here, and then I have my extension cord running across the basement, and so that just supplies power for however long I choose. So then it just automatically shuts off. So right now it's the pump is running, as you can see, and when I put the pump on, or the filter on, I drop this chlorine duck from our pool in there, let it float around, and just drop a little bit of chlorine. And I ran without those chlorine pucks, which are in the base of that, for maybe a month. And I didn't notice any issues with the water. I just kind of got this sort of, I don't know, organic smell coming up, so I ended up going with the chlorine after all. The levels are really low. I test it every now and then, and it's actually not even registering chlorine on the test strips, but I can definitely smell it. It smells like chlorine. So yeah, I do my plunge, and then I warm up, and then a little while later I rinse off. So anyway, that's my setup right now. It's keeping it really clean. This is probably a couple months in now, and the water's really nice, really quite clear and fresh, and yeah, that's also my way to keep everything cold as well, chill the water down.